Okay, I call the meeting order, our November 12th, 2025 meeting. And we start with the public participation at town Hatfield Select Board meetings. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meeting and all the other public meetings of the town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and the committees of the town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings, but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. For the public's information, this meeting is being recorded, and I'd like to start with announcements. And before we get into announcements tonight, we have two posted hearings. One will be at 5:45 with the tax classification hearing, and the other will be at 6 p.m. So if at any time during our agenda we hit those times, and we'll have to stop and move with those meetings. I'd like to give a special thanks to the COA for having the Veterans Breakfast downstairs. Jerry and Cookie and her staff, along with Sean Robinson, did a great job. I know my colleague Greg was able to make it. It was a nice meal and it was a good time. I also like to thank Pulse 344 and Commander Tom Tataro for Veterans Day activities at Town Hall on Tuesday. And we had a new addition for a trumpeter. Andrew was able to play the taps. I thank you, Andrew, for that.
Thank
And I thank all the town's folks that were able to come. Those were my, okay, I have a letter from Michael Marantz regarding the highway department that I'd like to read. I want to take a moment to thank Dwayne and the entire road crew for the quick and thoughtful response in addressing severe damage to the road near 188 Old Stage Road. Their team's work in providing a temporary fix was both timely and effective, and very much appreciated by everyone who lies on that stretch of road. It's clear that they take real pride in keeping our community safe and connected, even under challenging conditions. Please extend my gratitude to Dwayne and his crew for the dedication and hard work. With appreciation, Michael Marantz, 188 Old Stage Road, Hatfield. So thank you, Michael, and thank you to our DPW for the great work that they do. And those are my announcements.
I have none.
All right. So with that being said, public forum, is anybody here for public forum? If not, then we will move to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the October 28th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Second?
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, our next topic one is not to 5:45 for the tax classification hearing. So I will move, and topic 2 is at 6 p.m. So I will move to topic 3 under appointments and resignations. We have a resignation from Barry Labbe from the Board of Registrars. I'll need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Barry Labbe from the Board of Registers.
Second?
Motion made, motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and thank you, Barry, for your help. We'll send him a letter of thank you.
Mhm.
We have an appointment of Karen Karowski to Board of Registers. I will need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to appoint Karen Karowski to the Board of Registers.
Second?
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so that will take care of topic 3. Topic 4, donation of digital sign in front of Smith Academy. I was in text conversation with our superintendent Connor. And the sign for Smith Academy, he sent me some pictures. I don't know, we were able to share those pictures, but it's about the same footprint as the existing sign. In between, instead of being the number, the letters you put up, it'll be digital. So it's going to be fully paid for by the trustees. It won't take away from existing bylaws. It fits within the bylaws. It doesn't cost us anything. It looks nice, and the school committee is an approval of it. So I think, do we need to accept that?
Well, I just wanted to allow for some kind of public forum to discuss this sign, to
Okay.
speak, because it does look like it complies with zoning, for what we can tell. The zoning is basically restricted to um, restrictions on business and industrial signs and industrial zones. This is a school in a town center district, so it looks like it doesn't quite fit those qualifications. But at the same time, in case neighbors had concerns about an electronic sign that lit up, were there things that this group wanted to make sure were flagged as concerns before moving ahead? And is there anything you wanted to hear from neighbors on, or make public about this before moving forward? It was just an opportunity to have some kind of public forum.
Okay, so that's what this was for, not to accept it now, but to have like a,
If there's any concerns that you have, any questions you want answered, and plus people watch these meetings, so they'll hear from us that it's being considered, and just an opportunity to discuss it.
well, my questions to Connor, I think he answered that, was who's paying for it? Does it fit our existing bylaws? Is it approval from the school committee? What does it look like? And it did fit for my questions, all those, but I still open it up to my colleagues if they have any questions on this particular sign.
The only question I had was that I recalled a time a couple years ago when the fire department was looking into getting an electronic sign, that there was something in the clause about like you can't have scrolling text and stuff like that. Just something.
And there are such guidelines for business or industrial signs.
Mhm.
This is kind of, I don't want to say a loophole, but if you read our language explicitly, it doesn't say anything about a sign for a school in this kind of district. So that's the only reason it would technically be allowed, because it's a school sign rather than a business sign. But I do believe it's not necessarily intended to scroll the text, and more to display it, and then it can be easily
In a
changed.
static fashion.
I
and then
believe it's
just
supposed to be
easily
static,
changed, yeah.
and if that's a preference for this group to have static rather than scrolling, I think that's worth surfacing.
Yeah, I mean, I would be in favor of a static sign versus a scrolling sign. I think there's enough distractions on the road as it is, but.
I agree.
And also too, if it is installed and we find out that some residents have a problem with the glow of it in the evening hours, I'm sure there's a timer that we can set or something to have it shut off at a certain period of time and turn back on in the morning. So
Okay, that's good.
I think it's stuff that,
I think it looks neat. I saw
I
the
think it'd
pictures
be-
of it.
yeah,
I
it
thought
is.
it was a nice sign. It fits into the existing footprint, and it is, instead of somebody going out changing the letters all the time, it would be,
yeah,
they can update messages a lot easier, a lot quicker. Plus, the big thing is the town's not paying for it,
Right.
so.
and you might get more frequent updates on the sign as well, since it's easier to
Yeah.
do. So
I think we have some folks from the public here to speak to it in case that's desired. Some folks from the trustees, but
You guys care to speak to this at all? Well, come up to the microphone, introduce yourself, and let us know what's going on here.
Yeah, Dave Lampron, Elm Street, Hatfield. I'm one of the trustees for this, and you're correct. It's not a scrolling sign. It can just be changed from remote, and it can have more than just, it can have any announcements on there. It could have town voting tonight, or for an example, it could, Connor would be able to adjust it from his phone. No longer needing to walk out to there and change anything. And that'd be like probably one of the newest modernized items at that school since it was built.
That's true.
But that's about all it is. And Smith Academy trustees is who will be paying for this.
So the next step in this, Andrew, is this having it on the agenda or contacting the residents if they have any concerns to come to the Or do we need a hearing on this? What do we need to
You
do?
don't really need anything.
Yeah, okay.
We're good to move forward if this is, it can really be built without approval, but the only thing you'll need to do is accept any kind of donation that is made. When the process is all done, you can, accept the gift of the sign.
Yeah,
But otherwise, you're good.
all my questions are answered.
Okay.
And I don't know if my colleagues want to hold off to the next meeting or not, but
Mine are answered. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with what's going on. I mean, as long as the neighbors are okay with it, I guess.
so then what, will we require a motion to accept the sign? Or,
You can make a motion to accept the donation of the sign. Yeah, I think that sounds
Yeah.
great.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation of the sign.
I'll second that.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, okay, so. Thank you. We still have,
Mr. Chair, would you be open to somewhat going out of order because we have Elizabeth Bracha from our accounting firm here? I'm thinking she could start to give us a briefing on what we're talking about on the budget and tax rate issue, which then blends nicely into our 5:45 hearing.
well, we only have 3 minutes until our hearing, so.
I-
Is
I-
that,
I think it's okay to at least get started, and then
Okay.
because it does overlap a little bit with the tax classification hearing,
all
could
right,
be useful, and then we should be able to finish after that hearing and then
that's
before
fine.
Assessors, if that
Okay.
sounds okay. So what I'll say is, I'm taking this slightly out of order from my report. I do have an item here on the budget and tax rate, but we have come into an issue when working through the year-end close and setting the tax rate with our accounting firm and with our assessor's office and others. Due to issues in the budget workbook and some changes in the final state aid numbers that came out, we have an approved spending limit from town meeting that is roughly $465,000 above our actual levy limit. We have a limit to how much we are allowed to collect in taxes, and this, what we approved in collecting is actually above that. So it puts us in a difficult position for this year as we need to bring our spending to the levy limit through a combination of cuts to this year's budget and using free cash and other available sources. I think the best way to deal with this is through a supplemental budget. And to accept the supplemental budget, we do need to go to a town meeting. So that would be a special town meeting. We can discuss dates and process and everything else. But we're looking at December 2nd, 6 p.m. at Hatfield Elementary School. We'd like to do it as soon as possible so that we can have this approved and then still be able to get our tax bills out for this year. That does not affect the setting of the tax classification, as the Board of Assessors will talk about.
Okay, so, do we know how much the state decided to hold back of what we were expected? I mean, were we
Yeah.
expecting a certain amount from the state, and the state didn't give us that amount?
We had slight changes in how much we were expecting in assessments and to be paid out, and a slight change in how much we were expecting receipts. It totals out to around $80,000.
How much?
$80,000.
$80,000.
Around that.
That's still far from the 400.
Far from that 400. Yeah.
So, do we have,
The rest of it, we believe, there's a couple other areas that ended up changing as we went forward, but a large chunk of it is in the Chapter 90 provisions. It used to be that those funds had to be appropriated annually. So our budget workbook shows it as a revenue source that then needs to be offset. When we finalize the budget, it shows up as a revenue source, but doesn't show it as well as an offset. So it makes it look like there was more cash available than there was.
Yeah.
And there were a couple other issues in the book, but we're
well, it's
sorting these out for next time.
45,
Yeah.
and we do have the posted hearing, so go to the tax classification hearing then. So the tax classification on November 12th, 2025 at 5:45 is now open. At this time, the assessors can speak on their recommendations for tax classification.
Hello. So I will say each of the motions, and then you should take a vote on all four of them separately. So the assessors' recommendations are, the Board of Assessors recommends that a factor of 1 be adopted for FY '26. This will keep a single tax rate for all classes of property in Hatfield. The Board of Assessors recommends that no open space discount be granted for FY '26. The Board of Assessors recommends that no residential exemption be granted for FY '26. The Board of Assessors recommends that no small commercial exemption be granted for FY '26.
Okay, is there any discussion from my colleagues on any disagreement or recommendations to the assessors?
This isn't really a change of anything, right?
No. it's the
Just
same
what we've
thing we
always
do
done.
every year.
So it's nothing new.
That was my question.
Is there any public comment? Is anybody here for public comment? And I guess not. So since there's no public comment, I'll say the tax classification is now closed, and I will entertain the motions.
I'll make a motion to approve the allocation of the tax levy factoring against property classes for FY 2026 as recommended by the Board of Assessors.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion to approve the tax burden shift from the open space class to the residential class as recommended by the Board of Assessors.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion to approve the granting of residential exemption of up to 10% of the average value of all owner-occupied properties as recommended by the Board of Assessors.
Second.
Motion made,
Should we
motion seconded. Any
clarify-
discussion?
What?
All in favor?
Is that clear enough? It's as recommended by the Board of Assessors, even though there is no residential exemption?
So you should say that the Board of Assessors recommends no residential exemption on each of them. No open space, no residential, and no small. Keeps a single tax rate in Hatfield. That's,
Okay.
so I would say, just make sure you're saying no on each of those.
So
Is that
we'll,
clear enough? Motion to approve no granting of a residential exemption, or?
Oh, we'll change the motion?
Well, the motion, number 2 motion
Have
has
to-
to change then as well, from the way it's written to what they just said.
so you're going to redo the motion on that?
So I'll withdraw my last motion
Motion withdrawn.
and I'll redo the motion to approve. Do not approve? Is that what we want to say?
Motion to approve no granting.
To approve, okay. Motion to approve no granting of the residential exemption of up to 10% of the average value of all properties as recommended by the Board of Assessors.
What are you got? What are they looking at?
Yeah, what are they looking at?
This is what I gave you. They should literally be saying on one.
Yeah,
Board of
this
Assessors
isn't
recommends
right.
That no open space discount be granted for FY '26.
Let's do this.
All right.
Sorry. It's just different on the motion sheet.
All right. So do we have, okay, I'll withdraw that motion too.
Motion withdrawn.
Do over.
All right. So we have to redo the third one?
You have to redo all of them.
We have to redo all of them?
Let's redo all of them just to make sure we're safe.
All right. All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the allocation of the tax levy factoring against the property classes for FY 2026, as recommended by the Board of Assessors. Is that good?
You Just read right there, item 1, allocation of the tax levy. The Board of Assessor recommends that, and then you just read that whole thing.
We don't, I don't think we have.
Item 2.
I don't have any of
Have
that.
We don't have
You don't
that.
have that?
No.
Okay,
I don't have any of that.
then,
All right.
okay. Well, that's
what I
why.
Okay, we're all looking at something different here. Okay. All right. I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Assessors, that the Board of Assessors recommends that a factor of, is that the right one? Am I doing the right one before I
Yep.
keep going?
Yes.
Okay. That, the Board of Assessors recommends that a factor of 1.0 be adopted for FY 2026. This will keep a single tax rate for all classes of property in Hatfield.
Motion-
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded.
It's
All in
painful,
favor?
huh?
Motion carries.
Aye. And I'll make a motion, the Board of Assessors to to approve the Board of Assessors recommendation that no open space discount be granted for FY 2026.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And I'll make a motion, to agree with the Board of Assessors recommending that no residential exemption be granted for residential exemption be granted for FY 2026.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And a motion, the Board of Assessor recommendation that no small commercial exemption be granted for FY 2026.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
We get it? All right.
Very good.
So the only other thing, the board voted before we came in to release 63,000 to overlay. So I'll get you a memo for that tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Board.
Hope that
Thank you.
helps.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your
Pleasure as
patience.
always.
Yeah. The hearing's
We're
done.
sorry about that. We just didn't have the right info at the time. So we got it right.
Would you like this, Andrew?
We might
Yes.
do things a couple of times, but we'll get it right eventually. So that's okay.
Okay.
See, it's, okay, we can go back with discussion on the accountant and the 400,000 that somehow was,
So Elizabeth, if it's all right with you, I'd love to turn over if there's anything you'd like to add on this to add some further clarification.
I didn't hear all of that, Andrew. Hi, everybody. Elizabeth Braccia, Town Accountant. Thank you for letting me join you tonight. Andrew, did you want me to take over on this discussion or?
If you don't mind, yep.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about what Andrew talked about on the recap and the budget?
I mean, my question at the very beginning was how did this happen what were the amounts coming from that were
Yeah,
over
that's a good.
appropriated? How did this, I mean, I'm just confused by all this, that's all.
Understand. There's a budget workbook that I guess has been used year after year, and in reviewing it, noticed some of the formulas that are supposed to be in there have been written over, and that always is a disaster waiting to happen if you don't let the workbook work for you. Not that, I believe that was in the past that came forward to Andrew. There were some numbers, the numbers that come out from the cherry sheet, you get your original proposed numbers, and then they vote, as you know, at the state level until they come up with the final numbers. And some of the earlier numbers were higher than the final numbers, and those came out later than when the budget book was put together. There's some in that. And then Andrew mentioned there was a Chapter 90 revenue in the available revenues that didn't belong there. And it was historically put in there, but I believe that in the past they put the expense in there and the expense had been removed, but the revenue wasn't. So it made it look like there was more available revenue than should have been. And so it looked like a balanced budget based on some of those things that happened.
But-
So
I guess I'm confused as to how this hasn't happened in previous years. Why are we just figuring this out this year? It just seems odd.
Yes.
So what I'll say is that I did a lot of work in trying to go through the workbook this year. It looks like we didn't necessarily have an accurate count from last year when reconciling the budget, in that we presented a balanced budget and we ended up being under the levy limit, which is very nice. It seems there were some things that were inconsistent there as well. There were some changes in how snow and ice was calculated. There's some changes in how our offsets for the enterprise funds were calculated. I did a lot of cleaning up of the spreadsheet, and I think that gave us less margin for error by the end. And that might have been what part of the issue was. And it should have been checked in an alternate form as well. And for whatever reason, we didn't do that.
So do we know what areas that these deficits are specifically?
It's a good question. So it's hard to identify just one area where, say, we overspent, because we were building a budget to the area where we thought we could get. We thought we had a levy limit, and we were making decisions based on that. So we can look at what were the last decisions that were made, but overall, it's kind of everything is overspent. There's not really one particular area that we just spent too much on. I will say there's areas that I've looked to cut first as we work through this, and I think that we'll be able to make around $175,000 worth of cuts without any of them being particularly painful in this year alone, which is good. And then we have some other sources to transfer from. But we will need to look next year at basically starting from scratch and trying to identify, what else can we do to restructure across departments.
I mean, right now, that 4 something is about, what, 3% of our budget or so, something like that?
Could be closer to like 7.
Okay,
Yeah.
more like 7. So if you take away the 170 without,
Mm-hmm.
we're down to maybe, what,
Call it 5.
4%?
I mean, do we have any projects that are not yet complete that we could move to the next fiscal year to get that number down?
Right, is there anything we can do other than town meeting? I know we have to redo the budget, but
So town
spend what we
meeting
got.
I don't see a way around town meeting, unfortunately. Just to make any of the changes that we need to our budget, it would require a vote of our legislative body, the town meeting. As far as projects, most of the projects per se are funded from special accounts. So it doesn't necessarily solve the operational budget issue, which is more of what we have right now. We've looked at some projects where there's accounts that we're not working on them. We can transfer it into our current operating budget. I think that's an option. Mostly I've looked at things that are already closed rather than things that we haven't started yet, but we could potentially do that. Anything that was approved at town meeting last year, but we could wait to do, we could potentially look at moving that. Is an option.
I mean, if we go to a special town meeting, we have to have a game plan on what we're doing to reduce it, right? Whether we're instituting a hiring freeze, whether we're having all the departments cut back 3 or 4%, whether we're disallowing anything except essential items to be purchased, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm saying, we need to come up with something like that.
Yeah, and I think we have a start to that. We have the identified $175,000 in cuts. We have a number of accounts that can be moved over, and then the request would be to move about $100,000 from stabilization and around $100,000 from free cash as well to help us for this year. And then moving forward, I think we'd have to do the things that you're talking about for the building of next year's budget. We have to make some larger changes.
And we also have to know how it would affect various departments with cutting certain amounts of money from them too.
Yeah,
So,
it's localized so far that the 175,000, it doesn't touch a lot of public safety, public services, but it's mostly on the edges, I would say.
so we have
So
to
I will have that for you as a full list so you can review it
Okay.
of the proposals.
So in order to have a special town meeting to make sure we hit the target date for the taxes rate to be set, we have to set that by pretty soon, right?
I'm recommending that we meet on Monday to
Okay.
sign a warrant that would then set up a town meeting for December 2nd.
Okay, I'm gonna stop here. I know this is gonna be further discussion, but we do have a posted 6 o'clock hearing, so I'm gonna move to that 6 o'clock hearing. Okay, this is November 12th at 6 p.m., Town of Hatfield. We're having an open hearing for multiple amendments to a liquor license, which is as we know it as Sisters. And I will open up the hearing and for discussion. So right now, it's a discussion among my colleagues. If you have any questions, or if you want to make any statement.
Sure. So I'm Pritesh Patel. I'm from District Newsletter. Essentially, there's a minority partner that we're purchasing out, so nothing is changing at the business. The Liquor License Commission just requires us to do these amendments because when the store was initially purchased, their name was on there. There's no complaints from the ABCC or anything of that nature, so it's just a cosmetic change.
Okay. The way I read it, it's you're just changing the manager and you're doing some corporate changes within
Yes.
your structure, whatever. Okay, so I noticed that everything seemed to be in order. I have no other discussion on this. Do you guys have any discussion on?
No, this is just a change of the names. It has no changing of the way the liquor license is being handled.
Correct.
That's all. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, I will now open it up for public comments. If anybody's here for public comments, there's nobody here for public comments. I will now close the hearing. I will ask for a motion to close hearing. I need a motion. So I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second the motion to close.
Okay,
hearing.
motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, action. We'll need a motion on the action.
I'll make a motion to grant the application for multiple amendments to the existing all alcoholic license of Sisters Convenience and Deli Shop at 22 West Street as specified in the application.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good evening. Okay, we'll go back to our discussion on this money that somehow within the workbook sort of got overspent. And, okay, so I guess, and the only way to make the remedy is to have a special town meeting. And we'll have to just roll up our sleeves and try to see how and where to make the cuts, or maybe even ask departments to submit some kind of idea on where they can save the remainder of the year, whether they can save on supplies or they can save on other items, or ensure that hiring freeze or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of pieces to this. So.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just so I'm clear, and this could be my own ignorance. So we came in last year under the levy limit, right? And now we're finding out that we're 465,000 over it.
Mhm.
I guess I'm just confused as to how that happens.
How do we spend so much,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, because we're not really talking about, if we originally came in under the levy limit, we're not talking about 465,000. We're talking about 650, 700,000. I mean, whatever the delta was of what you were under the limit before.
Yep. Plus new growth, plus
Right.
the 2.5%.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's
This
what's
isn't a
frustrating to
small
me.
number.
No, it's not a small number. What's frustrating is looking at our numbers of where the levy limit was increasing. It looked like it was increasing by around $1 million. So we looked at where is new spending coming from. So there's new debt that was coming on. Fine. Most of that was debt excluded. So in my mind, it shouldn't have hit this levy limit issue. Then there was health insurance increases. There was about $150,000 more for schools. And there were a couple of other expenses being increased. Obviously, personnel increases each year at around 2.5%. But
And like debt exclusions, they're not added on the levy limit. They're not supposed to be, in my understanding. I mean, since I've been on the board, we've always come under the levy limit somehow. I mean, the first few years on the board was trying to get all the books in order and stuff, and that took a while. So I'm still concerned how this happened, so it
Yeah.
doesn't happen again. It's just confusing to me, and unless I see some hard numbers of, I mean, you're saying it's hard to give the hard numbers because it's all part of the budget somehow, but there's got to be some way.
You have to know where there's overspending happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. from the budget lines that were submitted versus to what the receipts are, we have to know.
Yeah, I can tell you that the largest increases came from the healthcare costs, from the amount that schools increases each year, just because it's a large budget center. That was around $150,000. Debt's around 300. Health insurance was around, let's say, 250, I believe. And we can give you, the exact numbers of everything. You should have that. The townspeople need to have that.
Yeah, we
We're
need to
putting that
have
all
that.
together.
Mhm.
But again, when I looked at the amount that the levy limit was increasing, it looked like $1 million gap from one year to the next. So it didn't seem like a ridiculous budget to be putting together. It looked like we had that much room. So that's errors on our side for sure. And it was hard to look like it was an overspend. But I don't know if Elizabeth has anything else she wants to add on this for how to think through this.
And the finance committee has looked at all the numbers, or have they had a discussion on this too?
We are meeting tomorrow night.
Okay,
we're meeting
meet
with Finance
tomorrow
Committee tomorrow night.
so-
Yep.
And they'll be meeting with the accountant on this too?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay. And try to figure out what happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very
Yeah.
I mean,
This
this
is
is
a-
sort of like shocking. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I thought we were so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a terrible position to be in. It's reflective of a lot of the financial issues that other towns are having, except
Yeah.
this one snuck up on us, and I don't like that. So
I know the
Yeah.
state's been all of a sudden they found out they're receiving less money from the federal, and there's a trickle effect happening, but I don't know if that's,
But that's a drop in the bucket for the number that we're talking. If the state aid is only 80,000 less than what we're talking about, but we're talking about
no, that's
a gross
300,000.
miscalculation of 800,000,
Yeah.
it's not like the state aid is what's putting us over the edge. We could, if that was the case, we would just fund it out of free cash and be done with it. We wouldn't have a problem.
I mean,
I
maybe
kind
with
of,
a-
I personally kind of have a problem with this. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a good chunk of our budget that is grossly miscalculated.
Mhm. Yeah, it is.
I think somehow, I hope that the finance committee and the accountant can relook at the numbers again. Maybe there's been another mistake. Maybe it isn't. Maybe there is. I don't,
Yeah.
I just,
Elizabeth, can you hear any of this?
Yes, I can.
Are there any? I mean, we feel confident in these numbers now, unfortunately, right? Like we don't think there's another mistake in here in following through
No.
on the state's platform.
No, there aren't. I went through what was voted against. I have a different format that I've used in the past, and I threw the numbers in a workbook that I use, and it matches the recap. It's built to emulate exactly and calculate where the levy is and et cetera. So once I plugged all the numbers in there, it agrees with what's happening in the recap of what the voted amounts to raise.
I mean, when DOR approves our stuff, is it like double check too?
Well, this is that double check. This is DOR approving it.
Okay.
That's what's happening now.
Hmm.
And we're failing the double check.
Okay. All right. I mean, we'll get through this somehow, but it's sort of shocking.
Yeah.
And I never saw this one coming, to tell you the truth. This is not good,
No.
but
Yeah, we'll get through it. We'll do it. We got to do something.
it just, the departments will have to spend less. But in order for some of this to happen, we need the special town meeting in order for that to get approved, right?
Yeah, and my recommendation will be a mix of cuts, and for this year, and this year only, some from stabilization and some from free cash, probably 100,000 of each, just to get through this year for what we've already committed to. But for next year, we're going to have to look more carefully at more cuts in more places and restructuring.
And we have a record from last year of all, like, each budget, who submitted level funded and was granted that, and who had increases.
And
and
show you
was granted.
everything, yeah, as far as where the increases were.
So I think
It's
that would be a
hard to
good place
find a lot of, out of control spending
Right.
in different places. Some of it we just couldn't control. There's numbers that
No.
are decided for us with the health insurance and other places. There's things we can try to do differently, like change to a different health insurance provider. But a lot of it is just in the structure that we have.
I mean,
We're
a
gonna
lot
have
of
to
the
make some
increases are in
decisions.
the schools. Each year, the schools are always, it seems always to be the biggest increases for the most part.
Mhm.
And we have increased the fire department with more full-time staff. We have done some other items, but slowly incremental, not to account for $400-something thousand, I guess. But
Yeah, but it would be nice to see, like, if fire department was level funded from last year, which I believe it was. I don't think there was an increase last year. If DPW was level funded, and what departments had an increase from last year specifically, because it would make the most sense to then go back to those departments and see where we can work that money back,
Right.
rather than asking the departments who were already level funded from the previous year to then make an additional cut on top of it. If we can go back to the departments that saw an increase or had requested an increase and try to work that back, it would make sense.
I think that's fair.
That
That's
can
something
be
I can look at.
provided.
Yeah, we have that information.
Yeah, that would be good. And then we can also see, over these 2, 3, 4 departments, whatever it is, what is that number of increase that was asked? Is it potentially close to what this number is? And is that attainable by making a couple cuts here or there to be able to work that number back down? So it essentially would have been a level funded budget from the previous year. And do we have the capability with this time in the fiscal year left to be able, is that actually a reality?
Yeah.
It would be very difficult to get back down to that zero just from cuts alone from this year, is how I
Yes.
see it. Which of course raises the question of then what were we, if we had been looking at this the right way all along, what would we have done last year?
Well, I guess that's my
It's-
point.
It's
right?
a really
Like,
important question.
Right, if we had noticed this last year,
Then we would have
would
made
we
different
have not
decisions.
approved these additional spending asks by these XYZ department?
Yeah.
Right.
And just to be completely honest, one of them is probably the increase in the health insurance
Right.
premium percentage. We went from 55 to 60%. But at the same time, I don't know what would have happened to our staffing levels had we not made that increase. And we would have seen, our staff having a very difficult time right now, especially with the additional increase that we had from Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust.
Mhm.
So that's a challenge. We probably would have looked at doing something differently. I don't know what, but that's a decision that we made from the position that we thought we were in, and we were not there.
But that challenge, we also potentially could have, if we found ourselves in that because of just the insurance at this time of the year, we could have then funded from free cash or stabilization like
Mhm.
what we're looking into now.
Mhm.
Right? So let's try to work this back and find out what the approved increases were from last year and in what departments they were, and is it actually realistic to try to find a way to get that money back?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
understand
think
that
that's right.
we can't just go slashing and
Yeah.
making,
right.
Mhm.
huge cuts, but I'm sure there's money that is taking up space in someone's budget line that's not going to get spent or spent at the end of the year so that you can request it again the following year.
Sure.
Right? Because we all understand that's how
Yeah.
budgets work. You
Yeah.
spend it or you don't get it back the following year.
Right.
So let's find out where those areas are and work those back and see where we end up.
And along with that, we also have to find within that spreadsheet, how did this even happen? How did these calculations come up?
Right. Because
too?
this is more than
Because-
just chapter revenue,
Because
chapter
all the
90 debts.
calculations showed us we were under the levy limit.
Mhm.
So somewhere in the calculations, there's a mistake somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? So
And
where is
we're
that
not going to be
mistake?
using that workbook in the same way again. We'll be using this different format that our accountants have provided. I'm not sure why we weren't using it before. That's what we'll do. So this won't happen again. It's the kind of thing that, I think once we've fixed the system, we'll know what our numbers look like. But
So
we're
let's
in
set
this
a
position now.
let's set a timetable for this. What's realistic for between you and the accountant to be able to get us these spreadsheets of
Spending?
the
Tonight.
spending and
Yeah.
and where the increases were from last year to this year?
Yeah,
and
we'll
what
have that
departments?
tomorrow.
Perfect.
That's not a problem.
Perfect.
So what we'll plan to do is give you as much information as possible. I'm also working on a proposal for what I think, the ideal scenario would be for this year. Um, If you would like to target more than the 175,000 in cuts, we can do that. I think that's a reasonable place to start. And then the rest we can make up for through a couple other means that we'll talk about. We have, the assessors have said tonight that they are willing to give us $63,000 in overlay surplus. This is what they budget for each year in case people ask for abatements. They have a surplus in that account because they've had either fewer abatements than expected or it just builds up over time. Every few years they can reduce that money. That's a one-time source, but it's something we can use this year. So it's $63,000. We have our free cash came in at over $1 million. We have 636,000 in stabilization. So those sources are available to us, paired with the cuts, paired with the overlay, and then a couple other accounts that we can use. We should be able to get there for this year, and then look at what we should do for the year after.
So you think the cuts are, we can realistically get to what number, 150 or
175, I feel good
175?
about right now.
Could you add a couple more and get us like a worst case scenario up to 300?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do that as well.
We can do that. It's nice to have options.
Right.
Back to stretching the rubber band. Okay.
Wow.
The accountant have any more comments on this?
Don't have any more what on this?
Do you have any more comments on this?
I don't, and I just, we can get those numbers to you pretty quick on the increases from one year to the next.
That would be great. Thank
I
you.
already have everything in a spreadsheet. Very easily just add the calculation for the budgets.
Fantastic.
Any other comments on this topic? Because I know we could
No.
discuss it all night with ideas, but that's not going to solve it until we finally come up with some solutions.
Yeah, get more people involved here. Yeah.
Oh, come up to the mic, Bob. Come on up to the mic.
So my recommendation was December 2nd. We can sign a warrant on Monday. Obviously, we'll provide as much information as we can so we know where the conversation is, but the warrant would basically just say that to have the town make transfers and then approve a supplemental budget. So I'll be working with the finance committee to put that supplemental budget together. But we would look at December 2nd, 6 p.m. At not Smith Academy, Hatfield Elementary School.
Okay.
If that works for your schedule, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, I mean, Andrew and I spoke yesterday afternoon, kind of knew what was coming. So looking at the dates and that, and I think as we talk, we know special town meetings are tough to get 75 people there. So the sooner we can get that date out in front of people, especially with the holidays here, the better, and start getting that in front of people. And I think the 6 p.m. works better, where hopefully it's a shorter meeting and a little bit earlier in the evening with our.
Well, the last one, it was everybody pulled out their cell phones
Yeah.
and started calling people.
Hopefully, yeah.
You know,
So we get people there.
we don't really want to have to detain people in the room until we get our 75. But yeah, no. So certainly, if the more we can do to get that message out there, the sooner the better, because we do obviously need to have that 75 number to get anything passed.
And hopefully we have all the answers to the questions that are going to be asked.
Certainly. That's on all you. But yeah, no, that date and time works and it's good for me.
So I guess this work in progress to resolve the issues.
If you think of
and-
more questions, let me know. Obviously, we
Yeah.
owe the taxpayers a lot of information, and we're working on that. And I think we have a plan for this year, but we're going to need to answer a lot of questions and
So
more.
if we're able to come up with the 465,000 from cuts and funding from free cash, stabilization, and from the assessors fund, it would mean that we don't have to change the tax rate and ask for additional taxes from the taxpayers?
We're not asking for additional taxes
not
at
this
all.
year.
Well, we can't.
Right.
We would have to pass some kind of override or something immediately. We cannot ask for additional taxes.
So the meeting is just for us to reorganize where we're taking the money from
essentially,
and how to balance the budget
that's right.
for the previous.
So between cuts
Right.
and then use of these other funds, it'll get us into this year. There will be no additional taxes beyond the 2.5.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think
That's
that's
not
just
an
something
option.
to make clear for the public that we're not asking for more taxation.
Yep, that is
Yeah.
not an option.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you.
Yep.
I'm good with
Alright.
December 2nd, that works for me.
nothing's ever easy sometimes, but
Well, this should have been easier, and I'm not happy that we're in this position.
Yeah.
We had a large team working on this, and yes, these things happen, but I'm not happy that we're in this position. I apologize for that.
it's probably, I mean, worksheet, maybe there's a mistake within the worksheet that we can find and that caused this. And it might not be nobody's fault. It might be multiple problems within the worksheet or something else.
Well,
and-
hopefully if we're using a new one for next year, we won't
Yeah.
have that problem.
Triple
So,
check.
Yep.
But
All right.
It's not good news, but we'll figure it out somehow. It'll all work out somehow, not probably the way we want it, but it'll work out. So I don't know how, but we'll get there.
Thanks, Chair.
Any more discussion on this particular topic? Okay, then I'll move on to the next topic, if
Very
that's
good.
okay with everybody. Thank you,
Thanks,
Bob.
Bobby.
I'll go to
Thank you, everybody.
topic,
Have a good night.
Thank you,
So-
Elizabeth.
topic 5. What do we know of topic 5? Water abatement request.
Topic 5 is a water abatement request. This comes from a resident in the in one of the trailers. The resident's name is Cecilia Harvey. She's currently under conservatorship. I believe I'm allowed to say that. So the conservator is the one who signed off. And her name is Kim Prokop. There's a lot going on in this situation. So this is actually the trailer that was hit by a town vehicle about a month ago. And they had filed an insurance claim, and our insurance is taking care of it. There was a small amount of damage that was done, but enough that some work needed to be done. They were working on selling this trailer as well. So this woman, Cecilia, has not lived there for around the last 6 months. She's currently in a nursing home. She has some health issues. She was not living in the trailer when this billing cycle occurred. She actually was already in either the hospital or a facility, a nursing home. So this high bill was caught when our last reading was done in September, or I guess it would have been August. Our water superintendent alerted the management of the trailer area to this issue, and they went in and turned off the water. They turned off the water to the trailer. It was a pretty high bill. We were concerned that maybe it's a billing error on our end. We asked the water superintendent to go check it out. The conservator was able to let him in, and what they found was an empty toilet bowl, which would potentially signal that there was some kind of leak that had occurred there. So water was most likely running in that unit, but it would have been going potentially the whole time that this woman was not living in the place. So we were asked about an abatement. We were asked about the issue that there was prior bills not paid. The conservator has paid for all prior bills besides this most recent one in order to get a building permit to fix the damage that was done on the trailer by our town vehicle. That damage is being fixed so that they can sell the trailer. However, she did ask for an abatement as well of this higher bill. This is a tough one because from what we can tell, most likely water was used. There was a leak that was going on there, but no one was living in the place at that time. However, it is still the responsibility of the owner or conservator or anyone else to take care of that. So she asked for an abatement. We'll bring that to you tonight. Clearly, there was a high use of water. There's no sewer. It was just the water. We can't prove that there was a leak, but it probably was. Also, this is going to be the last time that we deal with this happening for a 6-month period instead of a 3 because we're switching to quarterly billing.
But
So that's
she
the
wasn't
situation.
living there when this happened.
We do not believe so.
And so
Somehow, there
she
was
has
a
a
leak.
conservator taking care of everything. So they,
And the conservator, I believe, came on in March, so maybe right after this began. But and if we need more information, we can definitely ask the conservator.
I definitely looking at all the past bills, and I assume the water usage was a lot less.
Yes. I mean, she's typically at the minimum bill. This is an elderly woman living alone.
So the person's in a nursing home and all of a sudden it's leaking. I mean,
Yeah, I don't doubt that there was a leak there, but I wonder who's responsible for that leak? Is it the homeowner? Do they have insurance?
I mean,
I mean,
eventually, any leaks, anything else, are the responsibility of the homeowner.
Yeah.
That's how it works. If the water goes through the meter, what we're technically supposed to be doing is billing them for that. At the same time, this is a elderly woman who wasn't even in the place, brought this conservator on later. It's a difficult situation. It's the kind that,
Yeah.
yes,
this actually sort of becomes like a hardship type of thing, I guess, in a way, right? Or does it not?
that's kind of for this board to decide. We
Oh.
don't really have regulations that talk about a hardship, but at the same time. you could
Well,
consider that.
I mean, she's in a nursing home, all of a sudden the toilet's got a leak and nobody's there to, I don't know if she had anybody, any family that would check the trailer for her or any of that, and compounded with that, you said we hit her trailer or something.
It did happen, yes.
Okay,
Unrelated to this, but that did happen.
So our vehicle caused damage to her trailer.
And that has been gone through our
Fixed.
insurance. It's been taken care of
Okay. When did that happen?
about a month ago,
Right.
2 months.
I wish we had some notification on that, but your comments?
The water went through the meter. The water was used. It's tough because I sympathize with where she's at and that there was no one in the trailer. But the question I'm asking myself is if there was another property owner in town who was not owner occupied and they had a vacant parcel, and this happens, are
Right.
we also going to abate that? And then where do you draw the line?
I guess that's what I was getting at too. It's like, who do you do this for and who do you not do this for?
I mean, it wasn't an error in our meter, correct?
There's not an error in the meter. When first heard about this, we thought there must have been some kind of error, but it was most likely caused by
a
some
lot of
kind
water.
We can't prove that, but most likely caused by a leak. It's a lot of water.
And we know for sure that the meter was okay, the meter works? The meter wasn't faulty? Do we know
I
that?
can't prove that, but
Yeah.
we have every reason to think it wasn't a meter issue. The simplest explanation is that there was most likely some kind of leak because the empty toilet bowl, everything else was symptomatic of there being some kind of leak.
Yeah.
But we don't know for sure, and we can't prove that.
Well, it seems like everything was okay on our end.
Is there can we, in lieu of changing the meter, can we suspend the payment for one more quarter and see what the next reading comes back as?
I think at this point they've turned the water off. They're looking to sell the trailer.
So the water's
I think
completely shut off, so there's not
water
going to
shut
be a
off
reading.
right now. Yeah,
Oh.
water shut off right now.
Turn the water off, the meter actually stopped. Right, I mean, you could check it, right? They could check it, make sure that.
I guess that's where I was going, was that if, if there's some level of usage and it's erroneous in a similar fashion to this, then it would be a way for us to prove that it either is or is not our meter.
I think it's very unlikely.
It's very
the
unlikely
meter.
that's our meter. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a tough situation. I feel for this woman. I mean, of course, you have the opportunity if you wanted to offer a smaller abatement. You could cut it in half as some kind of gesture. You could abate some small portion if you wanted to, just as a gesture. You could also choose not to abate anything, which would be understood since the water was used. But it's really up to you.
Well, I mean, Luke's suggestion, why don't we do that for first and just wait and then come back to this maybe?
Unless they need it paid to be able to sell.
Oh.
Which is
We don't
probably
want to
likely,
create a
yeah.
clerical error for them either to hang up the sale.
Right.
Because if they have an
Unpaid
unpaid
bill.
balance, they're not going to be able to sell it.
Yeah, we don't really have any rules on what we're supposed to do, but we don't have any rules what we're not supposed to do, so this is really tough. You know, normally we make exceptions for, I guess we have made exceptions for other things, but
Well, I mean, one option is deny it and request any further information. The other option is to approve it. The third option is to compromise and lower the payment a little bit and say, okay, well, 50-50 or something. So I think those are basically our three options, unless there's any other options. I mean,
yeah. Again, it wasn't our equipment, and our equipment was used to get this much water to that building. So our stuff was used, and
right. I mean, I do know of another situation where the toilet ran and ran and ran, and the people that were owners of that had to pay the full bill of
Right.
the water usage. So,
Right.
I mean, that's one hand.
right, in the past, we just like abated, if people use too much water, we've abated the sewer because they're
Right.
not putting into the sewer, so.
Right.
But this isn't like that at all.
No, there's no sewer in this.
This
situation.
is just water being poured into the ground.
Well, then we can either take this up or deny it, or right now, what's your thoughts? Deny?
Yeah, I mean, we also have no proof that there's actually any sort of hardship here either.
Okay.
We just know that she wasn't in the
In the trailer, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
And
I
we,
think
we
we're
do
also
know that
making
she's
it-
not she's not well. She
Yeah.
wasn't of
Right.
sound mind at
Right.
the time, unfortunately. Now she has this conservator, and whatever else. There are people who are supposed to be responsible for this.
Well, I could say we could deny it without prejudice, meaning she can come back if there's any further information to provide for us.
I would be open to that.
I'd be up for denying it for now with their option to come back and
Okay, so,
see us again.
And we can discuss if there's any more information they want to share, or if
right,
there's another arrangement they'd like to propose.
that
or
sounds
something
fair.
else.
Right.
All
At the
right,
very
so-
least, what they might ask for is to be able to pay the balance after closing, because the account right now for this woman doesn't really have any money to pay it until they sell the trailer.
Okay,
That might just be something to think about.
all right. Okay,
Good.
takes care of that.
I believe so.
Okay, I do have in the fire department, I have appointed Timothy Goshinsky of Sunderland, Mass. As a per diem firefighter effective November 6th, 2025. Firefighter EMT Goshinsky has passed a new employee physical as a requirement of the position. I have attached a new pay higher rate. He will receive $21.25 per hour for emergency responses and $16.25 for training. So I do want to thank Timothy for applying and being appointed by the fire chief. Maybe he can have him come to one of our meetings so everybody can be introduced to him.
That'd be great.
And I know we don't take any action on this as far as motions, because that's the fire chief's job to appoint. So this will just need our signature, correct? Yes. Anything on this topic as far as new
Nothing.
firefighter?
There's nothing for us.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's come to help.
All right, so that's all I have except for topic 6, which is town administrator report. And Andrew already discussed the,
Karen has made an excellent point. If the decision on the resolution of the abatement was to deny without prejudice, we might need a motion to do so. Otherwise, there was no motion made.
okay, I'll make a motion to deny without prejudice the abatement.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Very good. Okay, so first of all, health insurance, just want to continue to keep you updated on this. We met again with the PEC. They are interested in health insurance through Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association, MIA. We had a good conversation with their rep, and they're putting together a proposal for us of what that might potentially look like. This was in the context of negotiating over the potential move to the GIC, but they were interested in what other options might look like. So we had this good conversation around what that option might be. It will come down to funding. We'll have to find out from them what their rates look like for next year. So that's a major question. Passing along a notice from the DPW director about trees. Thank you to all of you for connecting with him about this important question. On October 31st, there were a number of trees that came down across town. That drew attention to a couple problem trees. One, a bald cypress in front of the former center school, had a portion come down. The rest of the tree is going to need to come down as well. And unfortunately, I think this has been on folks' radars for a little while, but the large silver maple right in front of Town Hall, beautiful tree, is not in good health. It does need to come down. I see the one arborist at this table shaking his head. It probably should have been taken down some time ago.
Yeah.
The good news is that will not have to come from our budget. Eversource wants to take this tree down. They are doing a lot of work right now, as you can imagine, with all the high winds and rains that they're still digging out from. But they will be getting back to us with a date shortly for when they can come take this down. They'll bring their giant crane truck and take care of it. It's good news for us. It'll be able to happen, but we did want to share this with residents. It's just a good thing for folks to know. I'm sure there's a lot of people who feel very strongly about this beautiful tree that stood in this area for a long time, and it's unfortunate it'll be coming down. And it'd be nice to try to find some way to honor that. So that's trees. Route 5 water sewer. Keeler says they will be on site tomorrow and Friday. We haven't heard of them canceling yet. So as long as that happens, we should have some news by the end of the week about what mitigation might look like, if there's anything that needs to be done on that line. I'm also continuing conversations with town council and state legislators to just make sure they're aware of the situation and they are helping us with next steps, which we appreciate. Day Pond bids are open. We had a walkthrough today, had a few contractors out there take a look at it. Bids are due on the 19th, so as long as we stay under budget, we should be in good shape to move that project along.
Did a lot of people pick up the bids?
We've got 27 who've picked up the bid package. Now, we only had 4 who came by today, but 27 companies have asked for the materials.
Doesn't mean that they'll all put the bids in, but that's a good
No,
sign.
the 4
for-
today all seem very interested.
Yeah.
I'd imagine we end up somewhere in the middle. If we get 8 bids, I mean, great. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Wow, good.
Yeah, not bad. Farm Museum. We've got a great architect working on this. Mark Sternick's making really good progress. We are going to have a stakeholder meeting to discuss what options look like for the siding of the building. We feel good about getting the new roof in there. The question is, we have a tobacco barn. Typically, you don't expect it to be super weather tight or anything else, or tight for rodents. Anything else might be out there. We're using it as a museum. We have a different level of protection that we'd like to see for all the beautiful artifacts that are in there. So we have 3 different options for how to repair the siding to protect it a little better against it was described to me as varmints. We could patch the existing siding as needed, try to use historically appropriate wood, whatever else. We could remove the exterior siding and install plywood, drainage membrane, and new siding. Or I could keep the existing siding and install some drainage membrane and new siding over the existing. So yes.
I have one question that I thought would be a good option.
Yeah.
So for item 2, rather than remove the exterior siding, install the plywood and the drainage membrane, and then could we reinstall the old siding?
Oh, interesting.
So that way we still are using the same historic wood that's always been there, and the look of the barn will remain the same, but it'll function with its membrane and stuff. I'm not sure if that's an option, but it seems like it could be.
It does. The question is it reusable? Is it reusable now, and would it be reusable after taking it off the first time? So we'd have to at least ask the question. Yeah. I like that.
I mean, I've definitely taken siding off some barns, and
Yeah.
most of the time you can reuse a good portion of it.
Excellent. That would certainly help.
Rather than having to buy in historically matching siding after the fact.
Yeah.
Let's just save this stuff
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
put put it back on after.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be historically matching after the fact. It would take a few years to get it weathered down and
Right.
look like what it is now. That has to be something we have to consider if we're comfortable with. If any of you are interested in joining that stakeholder meeting, let me know. I think we're going to talk on Monday at 3, I think, but I'll actually only check the time right now in case any of you would like to join as a select board representative on this. I'll have folks from DPW, from Historic Society, from Agriculture Advisory Commission. Yeah, 3 o'clock we're going to talk. If
On the
any of you are interested.
17th?
On the 17th. I know I already have you at 12 o'clock on the 17th. We're going to do our extra select board meeting, but if any of you would like to join at 3 on the 17th, I'd love to have you. And then just real quick on Community Preservation Act, there were 13 applications received for projects this year. Worked with the DPW and others to try to get a number of applications in that I thought could be helpful for us, and in part to defray spending that happens often from either from free cash or from general fund. So looking at some options for advancing a number of projects, number of things that were in the comprehensive plan. And you'll continue to hear more about these as the BC works through these applications. But they have 13, I think. The town is responsible for around 12 of them. So we'll see what they think of them. But I think there's some good projects in there.
We had pre-approved this, right?
We approve.
So it just needs a signature.
Just your signature.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Okay, we skipped the boiler project.
Boiler project, bid documents should be coming out soon. I actually just got an email while we were here about getting this bid out. We want the work to happen as soon as possible so that we don't have a disruption to our boilers this winter. So it's looking good. That we've got a good design, good plan, and we should be right in the budget that we need to be. So we'll get that out for bid as soon as possible.
Okay.
That's what I got.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. We have a plan.
Yeah.
Tammy, do you have any comments on old business or anything?
My only comment is you have that account for the tobacco shed still,
Yes, we do.
so when
Yeah.
you're doing that project,
Yeah, we can use that
you
first.
still have those funds you can use.
Just need your guys' signatures on these 3 things, so.
Do we have any update from Open Space on where we stand with their conversations back and forth with Bay State Forestry on the plan for the?
They didn't
Horse
send
Mountain
me a new proposal yet, so I will check in with them on that. The other area where I frustratingly do not have an update is from Harper's for electronic timesheets. I had signed their proposal and have not heard yet about next steps, so
Fantastic.
yeah, that's just frustrating on my end.
What are we signing for on this one? But why? Yeah, we have to sign that one?
Right, you didn't approve that.
I just, one signature, I guess.
Okay.
All right. So, I'll sign that one.
That's it?
I need 3 signatures on this or just 1?
Is that the abatement?
Abatement,
Yeah.
Did you mark reject or
I said disapprove.
disapprove? Let's have 3 signatures then, if you're saying disapprove.
Okay.
That sounds fine.
There you go.
It marks an official vote. I think that's appropriate.
No. Okay.
Okay. Any other old business? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second?
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, John. Have a good night.